All right, we are live, and hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 98. So we are live right now during the Contender Series, so most of you will not be watching live. You'll be watching later, and that's okay. So far, doing pretty well in the Contender Series. We locked in profit, guaranteed, with the Gauchi decision at plus 175. That was nice. A little bit of a sweat because he started a bit slow, but let me fix my camera. Yeah, I like that better. Started a bit slow, but he was able to pick it up, pulled off the win. Needed that because now we can't lose tonight. The rest of my plays were big dogs. Had the half unit on Antunes. He got knocked out. Had a quarter unit on Camacho. He got knocked out. And now all I have left is a quarter unit on the main event on Masraf, who will probably also be knocked out. But we're okay. We secured the profit, and we can move on. And now we have UFC Vegas 98 coming up. Have a bunch of bets already. Not a bunch. I have 3, and we can get right into it. So first fight of the card, we have Clayton Carpenter versus Lucas Rocha. Carpenter 7-0 undefeated. He's 28 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Rocha 17-1-0. He's 24. He's 5'3", so he is 3 inches shorter, 4 years younger, and he's going to be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. I thought I'd like Carpenter pre-tape because I've always been kind of high on Carpenter when other people weren't, and I've been pretty low on Rocha. But I ran the tape, and the way I see it, I think Carpenter is the rightful favorite. I will pick him to win, but I think it's dog or pass at this line when Carpenter's like minus 200, and I'll probably get to a Rocha bet. I'm gonna wait. I know a lot of people are on Carpenter. I expect more money to keep coming in on him. So I'm going to wait it out. I definitely have no interest on playing him at minus 200. At this point, it's 100% dog or pass. The way I see it, I think the only reason people are so heavy on Carpenter is the grappling, right? Carpenter's a great wrestler. He's very solid at it. He'll keep going for takedowns, good chain wrestling, solid control, and he's got good jiu-jitsu on top of that. And Rocha, you know, everyone's looking at the Davi Ramos fight. He doesn't have good takedown defense. He doesn't have good takedown defense. And that's kind of what I thought. And then I started looking at it, and I taped his other fights, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I don't think his takedown defense is that bad. Like, I think he's actually doing some pretty good things. His sprawl is good. He's quick. He has good hips. Tries to get the underhooks. Tries to fight for hand control. Can he be taken down? Absolutely. But I do think his takedown defense is a lot better than he's being given credit for. And his scrambling is also pretty good. He won't be super easy to just keep on the ground. He's going to make Carpenter work. Carpenter could possibly take the back and win minutes that way. That'll be a path for him too. And I could see a world where he gets control. So that's why I do think he's a rightful favorite. But I don't think it's enough to back him because I'm watching the striking. And honestly, I feel like Rocha is a better striker. I like his output better. I like the way he mixes kicks into his combos a lot. I like the knee up the middle. He's explosive. He's powerful, even though he's so small and at flyweight, but he's got a lot of power. He's very explosive. And I just feel like he's going to give Carpenter a lot on the feet. Carpenter's also a pretty good striker, but he's pretty liable to get cracked in the pocket. We saw that in the Charez fight. We've seen that in a few fights where he's kind of open for counters when he gets into the pocket. At range, he's nothing special. So I just think that on the feet, it's competitive, but I favor Rocha, and I think he has more power and more finishing upside on standing. And I just think that Rocha's takedown defense is better than people are making it out to be. And I think he could keep this on the feet. I think he could get back up, and I do think he could win this fight. So while I'll pick Carpenter, it's a dog or pass for me, and I'll probably be on the dog. And we can move on. Next up, we've got Dan Argueta versus Cody Haddon. Argueta 9-2-0, 31 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Haddon 7-1-0. He's going to be 26, so he's 5 years younger, same height, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. So people are super high on Haddon because he just fought on Contender Series. He got that win over Billy Brand. Now everyone's super high on him, and he had a close fight with Steve Erceg back in 2021, which was pretty impressive. So I get it, but I can't help but feel like the line's a little bit wide. I thought that I would like Argueta. After the tape, I'm iffy about it because the wrestling path is clearly there, right? Argueta is a wrestler. He's a credentialed wrestler. He's very good at it. He's short. He's stocky. He's strong. He's got solid control. He's got good jiu-jitsu. So he's a lot to deal with on the ground, and he will chain wrestle, but he does kind of slow down big time. His cardio isn't the best. By the end of round 2, by the start of round 3, he's a lot more tired. And Cody Steele got the finish. I felt like that might happen. See, this is why I passed on Blair. But anyways, I feel like Argueta will have that wrestling path. I just worry about him slowing down. I worry about the cardio. And if at any point he can't get Haddon down, or if he can't keep Haddon down, and Haddon, he doesn't have the best takedown defense, but it's not terrible either. It's pretty good. I think he could defend a lot of takedowns. And when he does get taken down, I think he can scramble back up. I actually like his scrambles. He showed a lot of that in the Usyk fight. And we saw that also in his blanking on the fella's name. Not Loga. No. Wilbraham. In the Wilbraham fight as well. So he can scramble. And on the feet, I don't think it's close. I think Haddon is a way better striker. He's relentless with the output. Mixes in the kicks really nice. He's got kicks. He's got punches. And I just think he's the better striker. I think he's got the better defense too. Keeps a high guard. Argueta, when he's standing, it's mostly just big winging strikes. So even though I feel like at plus 150-ish, there's probably some value on Argueta, who could possibly just come out here and now grapple Haddon. But I can't really get to it because I can see him gassing really hard. And whenever they're on the feet, I think it's going to be Haddon all day. I wouldn't be shocked if Haddon picked up a round 3 finish. So I think I have to go ahead and pick Haddon in this fight. I don't know if I'm going to end up betting anything. I'm going to wait and watch the line. I think right now where it's at makes sense. Maybe a little bit wide, but it makes sense. And I'm going to pass for now, but I will pick Haddon to win. All right, I guess this fight is happening. Next up, we've got Chris Barnett versus Junior Tafa. Barnett, 23-8-0. He's 38, 5'9" at the 75-inch reach. On the other side, Tafa, he's going to be 5'3-0. He's 28, so he's 10 years younger. He's going to be, I got to do some math, 6 inches taller, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. I'm not going to waste much time on this fight. This is going to be a sloppy mess. I think that Tafa should knock out Barnett. Barnett, relatively durable, honestly. He is pretty durable, and he can take a punch, and Tafa can slow down. Maybe Barnett can meme himself to another win, but I really don't see it. I mean, a win over John Vellante and a win over Jake Collier, who's a blown-up middleweight, doesn't really impress me much. Like, Barnett's okay. He's a decent striker, but he's extremely hittable. Like, he's just there to be hit, and Tafa's going to have a field day going off on him. And I just struggle to really see how Barnett does this outside of Tafa like gassing and Barnett just catching him with something crazy. So I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to pick Tafa, not touching this fight with a 10-foot pole, and we can move on. Next up, we've got Niko Price versus Themba Gorimbo. Price is 16-7-0, 35 years old. He's 6 foot tall with a 76-inch reach. Gorimbo, 13-4-0. He's 33, so he's 2 years younger. Going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to be at a 1-inch reach advantage. Weird fight. They're clearly trying to set Themba up for another win. He's a prospect that they're slowly building, and it makes sense to go slow because he's got the physical skill, like tools. He's got a really good build. He's athletic, explosive, powerful, but the skills, they're still building. He can grapple. He can wrestle. He's got solid jiu-jitsu. Nothing crazy, but it's pretty good. The striking isn't phenomenal, and that's kind of why I'm like, I see so many people parlaying Themba and like maxing him and betting him really heavy. And I understand Niko Price he's starting to really come down, and he's really on the downtrend. Maybe you could say washed. He looked decent in the Morono fight, but I'm not high on Morono these days either, so that doesn't mean a ton to me. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, how does Themba really pull away here? Because on the feet, is he a better striker than Niko? Not really. At this age and with the amount of damage that Niko's taken, Niko's slower for sure. Themba's going to be faster. I think Themba will hit harder. Niko's chin might be gone, so Themba can knock him out. But if he doesn't, and Niko's standing there trading with him, I feel like skill-wise, Niko's probably the better striker, and he's the one who's shown the better output out of the two of them. So I'm not convinced that Themba's going to have success standing, at least not extended success. I have a hard time seeing him stand with Niko Price for 15 minutes and win that fight. So That's one thing. And then if Themba's strength is the grappling, but Niko's showing pretty good takedown defense even at this age, is this really going to be an easy fight for Themba? So I'm going to pick Themba. I definitely don't want to bet Niko Price. I just don't. I was going to bet him against Morono. I think I chickened out. The one time I chickened out of fading Morono loses to Niko Price. That was annoying. But I don't think I'm going to back him here because he is at this point, he's only 35, but he's taken so much damage. He's much slower. He's had a bunch of injuries. I would say he's getting to the point where he's kind of washed. And I could see Themba just, I guess, out grappling him for 15 minutes. But am I going to lay minus 300 to find out? No, I'm not. So I'll pick Themba. Wouldn't suggest parlaying him personally. But I guess I understand fading Niko at this point. I don't think this is a super comfortable parlay piece. We got a fun fight here. But before I go into that, we got Mitchell Portnoy in the chat. What's up, Mitchell? Thank you for tuning in. Who do you got next on the next Dana White's Contender Series fight? So I'm assuming you mean the main event because that's what they're up to. I mean, look, realistically, probably Vakhitov, elite kickboxer. I think he's the guy who the UFC wants. I'm pretty sure Pereira's even at the Contender Series right now watching. Probably knocks out Masraf, but Vakhitov's faced nobody in MMA, like nobody good or even close. And Masraf is pretty decent. He's a decent striker. I don't think he's going to stand with Vakhitov for long periods of time, but if he does, he'll probably get knocked out. But he can be competitive to the point where he could set up takedowns. The issue is Masraf, we've never seen any tape of him actually wrestling. We've seen him counter wrestling. And I think there's a chance he goes for takedowns. And I think there's a chance he can hold down Vakhitov and do some work. I'll pick Vakhitov. I have a small bet on Masraf, though, a quarter unit. Nothing crazy. It's another high volatility Dana White's Contender Series fight where both guys don't have a lot of tape and both guys don't have a ton of MMA experience. And one of them is minus whatever he is, like 600. So, you know me, I take my small dog shot. But if you're asking just for a straight pick, I would say Vakhitov makes sense. But moving back to this UFC card, we've got Jonathan Pearce versus Pat Sabatini. Pearce 14-6-0, 32. He's 6 feet tall with a 71-inch reach. Sabatini 18-5-0. He's 33, so he's 1 year older. Going to be 4 inches shorter, and he'll be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. So for me, this fight was weird. I'm a JSP fan, but I went into it thinking Sabatini might be a play at plus money because he is also a good grappler, and we've seen Pearce be submitted, and Sabatini has good jiu-jitsu. But then I'm watching the tape, and honestly, I don't think I can bet Sabatini here. I have a few issues with him. I mean, look, he's a really good wrestler, and he's a really good grappler, and he has really good jiu-jitsu. Pearce, while he's also a good grappler, he has been taken down. He has had his back taken. Christian Rodriguez took his back. So I could definitely see Sabatini taking him down. I could see Sabatini getting some control. I could also possibly see Sabatini taking his back and maybe subbing him. I don't know if I just said that. But anyways, that said, I don't know what else he has to offer in this fight, right? In the striking, even though JSP is not some stud boxer or some amazing kickboxer, he's a better striker than Sabatini, in my opinion. I don't see how Sabatini puts together a competent 15 minutes standing. He just doesn't have that in his toolbox, even at this point of his career. His striking is fine. He's got a decent teep to the body that he hurt TJ Laramie with. His hands aren't anything impressive, not really stringing together combinations, low output, and just really depends on that grappling. And like I said, could it work here? Yes. We have seen Pearce taken down multiple times. Elkins, Amirkhani, Rodriguez. But normally he gets back up really quick. He scrambles really well. Brito took him down too, and he popped back up. He's a great scrambler, and I don't think it'll be easy for Sabatini to hold him down. And on the feet, I think JSP is a much better striker. I think JSP throws a lot more. I've seen Sabatini taken down too. TJ Laramie got him down. Pretty sure Tucker Lutz got him down as well. So I could see JSP landing his own takedowns because he loves to do that. And I just think the pace is also a difference maker. Sabatini has good cardio. I wouldn't say he's gassy by any means, but he doesn't have that same threat of just the pace of Jonathan Pearce where he's just relentless. He'll keep going for takedowns. When he's not getting them, he'll throw strikes. Then he'll go for the takedown again, and he just keeps going and going. And the other issue with Sabatini is the chin. He's clearly chinny. He's been hurt many, many, many times. Knocked out 3 times, but Emmers hurt him. Who else hurt him? I'm blanking now. But like Damon Jackson knocked him out with a front kick, the same kind of front kick JSP throws, and JSP is bigger and stronger than Damon Jackson. So I wouldn't be shocked if that was a repeat. And I worry about the chin of Sabatini. So I can understand a dog play on him, but I only give him the edge in the jiu-jitsu department. So, and it's a relatively closely lined fight. So I have to stick with JSP here. I don't know if I'll be playing anything, but that's the side for me. Brother, did you stop paying attention? I literally paused this breakdown to give you a breakdown on the main event. Go back like a second ago. Like, go back like a few minutes. I literally just re-broke down Vakhitov for you. I do think it's a live dog. I did play him for a quarter unit. You're good, bro. But okay, so JSP in this fight, and we can move on. Next up, we've got CJ Vergara versus Ramazan Temirov. Vergara 12-5-1, 33 years old, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. Temirov 17-2-0. He's 27, so he's 6 years younger, 1 inch shorter. Don't have his reach. So Temirov, he's a good dude. He's making his UFC debut. He's been fighting in Risen. It's Risen, not one, right? Yeah, Risen. He's been fighting in Risen, and I thought that I'd be playing him here. I really did. I thought I would just lay the chalk, the minus 260 or 250, whatever it was. And I'm definitely not playing CJ, but I think I'm just going to pass. Look, Temirov, I think he's the rightful favorite. Much more dangerous striker. He's a great striker with a lot of power, clean. He's dangerous in the pocket, and he's always pressuring forward. But I've seen shaky moments with him. He can be outstruck too. He can be hit. He's not like, doesn't separate a lot if he's not knocking his opponents out. And it's not like he has some kind of wrestling base. Like, I know he has a Russian name, but he doesn't really wrestle. That's just not really his game. So I don't really think we're going to be seeing that out of him. This is going to be a striking affair. And if he doesn't knock out Vergara, Vergara might have better output. Vergara, he's a decent striker in his own right. He's pretty hittable, but he moves pretty well. And he's just going to throw more than Temirov will. He won't hit as hard, in my opinion, but he'll throw more. And that can win him minutes if Temirov isn't getting the finish. And I could see Temirov slowing down too. I don't think his cardio is the best. So I won't waste too much time here because I'm kind of just passing completely. I'll pick Temirov. I think he should win this fight. I think he should win his debut. I rate him pretty highly. But in order to cover like minus 300 or something, I would have needed him to also grapple because Vergara is not a bum. He's not going to be a champion or anything like that, but he's a decent fighter. And I just don't think he necessarily should be plus 300 here. I don't want to lay the minus 300 chalk on Temirov. So I'm just going to pass, but Temirov's the pick for me. And I'm not interested in the dog either. I'm just passing altogether. Moving on, we've got Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. Chidi is 23-10-0, 35 years old. He's 6'3" with an 80-inch reach. Gooden, 23-9-0. He's 30 years old, so he's 5 years younger, 3 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. So I'm rocking with Jared Gooden here. I played him at plus 160 on Caesars earlier today. I'm a little concerned because my primary issue with Gooden is his striking defense and his hands being down, and Chidi is a beast. He hits really hard. He's a good striker. He's particularly dangerous in the pocket and in the clinch. His knees are nasty. His elbows are nasty. And I would not be shocked if he was able to land something big on Gooden. Gooden, I think, is relatively durable, and I expect him to survive, but that does give me a little bit of a worry. Outside of that, though, Chidi, I know he looked good in the cardio department against Riss McKee, but he also kind of did nothing. So if Chidi comes out here and fights like he normally does, he can get Jared out of here early. But if he doesn't, I think Jared's got the better cardio. I trust Jared to fight for my money more. I don't think he's going to wilt, while Chidi, I think, could wilt. And Jared also hits hard. Jared has good wrestling. Jared has really underrated jiu-jitsu. And I can see him subbing Chidi late or using the jiu-jitsu to control him, win minutes that way. I can see him outstriking Chidi at range with the jab, with the combos. He's cleaner down the pipe, in my opinion. So that's if Chidi comes out here like really hard off the bat. I could see him flaking. And then if he comes out measured like he did against Riss, he looked pretty good. But again, Jared can compete in a 15-minute fight. Like, he's had close fights with some good dudes. And I don't see why he wouldn't with Chidi. If Chidi's fighting with lower output than usual, Gooden's probably going to have more output. I really like how he works off that jab. I think that's going to work on Chidi. And again, I think the grappling will be there. I don't think Chidi's got the best takedown defense. I don't think he's got the best get-ups. He's harder to take down than he is to hold down, in my opinion, and I could see Gooden holding him down. So for me, at plus 160, it was a relatively easy click to make. Not saying it's going to be an easy fight to win. It's a tough fight for Gooden, that's for sure. But I do think Gooden can win here. And at plus 160, I like the spot. And let's move on. I'm seeing now that the Vakhitov-Masarov fight has begun. Masarov is swinging like an animal. That's a little concerning. But all right, let's hop into the breakdown. Next up, we've got Josh Fremd versus Abdul Razak Alhassan. Fremd, 11-6-0, 30 years old. He's 6'4", with a 76-inch reach. Alhassan, 12-6-0, 39. He's 9 years older, going to be 6 inches shorter, and he's at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. So for me here, I don't know if I really want to do anything. I see a lot of people really, really high on Razak. And I guess I understand. Everyone's super low on Fremd after the Brundage loss. Not the Brundage loss, sorry. After the Petrosky loss. But like, that was such a different matchup. You know, like Alhassan's not going to be taking him down. And I guess he technically could. We've seen Alhassan wrestle, but it's not really his game. And Fremd can wrestle too. People tend to forget that. I wouldn't be shocked if Fremd got his own takedowns in this fight. I wouldn't be shocked if Fremd was a fresher fighter because Alhassan can slow down. On the feet, yeah, I like Alhassan striking better. I think he has a ton more power. I think Fremd's got a bit of a tall man's defense. So I think Alhassan can knock him out. I think Alhassan can outstrike him. But Alhassan can be taken down, and I think Fremd can get the takedowns here. And if he uses that to slow Alhassan down, I don't see why he can't win this fight. So this is one that I want to come back to later, and I want to look at it a bit more later in the week. I like to take a little refresher, give myself a second, and come back into it with a fresh mind for certain fights. This is one of them. I lean on the Alhassan side, but I don't know if I can lay chalk on a guy who, if the fight leaves the 7.5-minute mark, then I'm going to be anxious the whole time because I don't like his cardio at all. And I don't really have much to suggest to me that his cardio has gotten all that better. Like, he won the 3rd round against Buckley, but that was like a few years back at this point. He's 39 now. I'm not exactly excited to lay chalk on Alhassan. I know everybody's super emotional about losing on Fremd after they thought he was a lock. It happens. Doesn't mean you should fade them every single time afterwards. But that said, I'm also not running to the window to go back Fremd because Fremd is all right. He's a serviceable fighter. He's pretty good, but he doesn't really stand out to me in anything. And I'm just not really looking to play him. So I'll pick Alhassan, KO upside, better striker. Can't back him at chalk because of the cardio, though. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll retape it and like it, but I highly doubt it. All right, next up, we've got Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono. Rodriguez, 17-5-0. He's 37 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Morono, 24-10-0. He's 34. He's 5'11", so he's 2 inches shorter, and he's at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Not crazy about this fight either. I think both guys are towards the tail end of their career, but I'd lean Daniel Rodriguez. I have not been high on Morono whatsoever. I think he's been high rolling it for a while, and I think it's starting to go a little more downhill for him as I've been expecting. Morono's a serviceable fighter. He has good output, and I guess he's got like tricky submissions, but I never understood why people are that high on him. His takedown defense isn't good. His striking defense is not good. His strikes are all loopy. He's got underrated power. I'll give him that, but it's nothing crazy. And while he's got opportunistic subs, he doesn't really have the offensive wrestling to bring it to the ground and submit people. So I struggle to really see where he's better than Daniel Rodriguez. I feel like Rodriguez is a much better boxer. I think Rodriguez hits harder. I think Rodriguez has very good takedown defense, so I don't expect Morono to take him down easily. And I just think Rodriguez will be the better minute winner, the better moment winner. I like him a lot more in this fight. I just, at the same time, 3 losses in a row, hasn't been looking the best. He looked decent in the Gastelum fight, in my opinion. Made a decent showing of himself as the big underdog. So I like him to win here, but he's like, what, minus 200 or something? Yeah, I'm going to have to really think about it. Maybe I'll play it. because I really am not crazy about Morono. And nothing's really standing out to me here in terms of a path for him. But I think I'm going to rock with Daniel Rodriguez. Whether I make a play, we'll decide that later in the week. And as always, you can get my bets, my breakdowns, my notes in my free Discord. Link in the description of this video. It appears that Vakhitov won. He did. That sucks. All three big underdogs that I bet today lost, but we still profited because of the Gauchi decision, and I'll take it. I'm just happy to be in the green again because we had a little loss streak going there, and no one likes those. All right, next up, we've got Cory McKenna versus Julia Polastri. McKenna 8-3-0. She's 25, 5'3" with a 58-inch reach. Polastri 12-4-0. She's 26, so she's 1 year older. 1 inch shorter, but she's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. So I like Polastri a lot here. I played her at minus 135 to win 1 unit, so I staked 1.35. And the way I see it, I think McKenna's being a little underrated now just because she got submitted by Amorim. Like, 1 fight ago, everyone is backing her to beat a really high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner. And now she's the underdog against Polastri, who's coming in on short notice. And now everybody's saying how terrible McKenna is. She's not terrible. I think she's a good fighter. She's got decent, serviceable striking that she uses to set up her grappling, which is her strength. She's a good wrestler. She's got solid jiu-jitsu. Definitely a solid fighter. But she's very unathletic, mid-striking, and she's a bit hittable. And with Polastri, you know, I like Polastri's striking a lot. I like her kicks a lot. I like how she mixes them into the combinations. I like her output. I like that she's rarely only throwing one strike. She's got a lot of pop in her strikes for this weight class. You don't see it often. She can finish people on the feet. I don't know if she's going to knock out McKenna, but I can certainly see her hurting McKenna a lot. And her takedown defense is also pretty good. You know, she can be taken down. She's been taken down in a few fights. You look at the Contender Series fight against Jasmine, but even in that fight, you know, Jasmine's huge, and we see how well she's doing in the UFC. And she took Polastri down, but she whiffed on a couple takedowns. And when she did take Polastri down, there was a few times where Polastri got up really nicely. She slid in the underhook and just got right back up. I thought it was pretty impressive. I think she's a lot more physical and athletic than McKenna. I think she can stuff a lot of the takedowns. I think on the feet, it's not close. I think Polastri's a much better striker. And Polastri can land her own takedowns. I wouldn't be shocked if she was able to do that. And that's really all it comes down to me. You know, I think it's a significant striking edge for Polastri. At least Reed outstruck McKenna, which is a terrible look. I know McKenna's really young at 25, and she's at a good camp at Team Alpha Male, so she'll be improving. But Polastri's also young, and she's also improving fight to fight. You see that for sure. And right now, I just think that she's the better fighter. I think she could have been a steeper favorite. So at minus 135, I do like Polastri, and I did play her to win 1 unit. All right, next up, we've got Grant Dawson versus Rafa Garcia. Dawson, 21-2-1, 30 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Garcia, 16-3-0, 30 years old as well. 3 inches shorter at 5'7", and he's going to be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So for me, I kind of like Garcia here, honestly. I backed him at plus 300. I also backed his opener at like plus 500, but I backed him at plus 300 and tracked that once that was more available. Even now, I think the line's even better. He's like plus 340 or something was the last I saw. I think that line is crazy. As a pick, I'll say Grant Dawson. He's a better pure wrestler. He has really good jiu-jitsu and control. Garcia's been relatively inactive. I believe he had an injury. So I can understand Dawson being a favorite. But, I mean, they opened him up at minus 700. Now he's minus 400. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all. Garcia's not going to be like Selecki. Garcia's not going to just lay on his back and do nothing. That fight was terrible, and it just showed a complete lack of urgency from Dawson. It showed a complete lack of like any kind of finishing instinct. It was just I did not like that performance at all. I think that the way I see it, I don't think Garcia is going to be easy to take down. I think Garcia's got pretty good takedown defense. He's a solid wrestler in his own right. He could probably land takedowns too. I don't know if he's going to be able to control Dawson really, but it's something that he could probably sneak in there. And I just don't think that it'll be one-way traffic in the grappling from Dawson. And if Garcia can keep this on the feet, I think his striking is better than Dawson's. Dawson doesn't really have a competent striking game. He'll throw some clean strikes down the pipe, even maybe a bit cleaner than Garcia's, but you don't see him doing it for 15 minutes. I have a really hard time seeing him just standing and trading for 15 minutes with clean combinations. I don't think that's really in his arsenal. And Garcia, he's a brawler. He's not as clean, but he'll be in Dawson's face the entire time. He's going to keep moving forward. He's going to fight for my money. I know that. If there's an underdog I want to back at plus 300, Garcia is definitely up there. He's going to fight for my money. He's going to put Dawson on the back foot. I think he hits harder than Dawson. I think he's more live for a finish than Dawson. Standing, I mean, because I guess Dawson could get a sub. That would make sense. But to make Rafa Garcia plus 300 in this fight just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Like I said, rightful favorite Dawson, but for me, plus 300 is a bet, and I did make it already. I really can see Garcia keeping it standing. When he gets taken down, popping back up. Maybe Dawson wins a round hanging out on Garcia's back. I don't think it's going to keep happening, though, in each round. And I think standing, I really favor Garcia. I favor the pressure. I favor the output. I favor the boxing up tight, up close, and I favor his power. So, yeah, for me, it's Garcia or pass, and I did take Garcia. All right, moving on, we've got our co-main event. We got Brad Tavares versus Jun Young Park. Tavares is 29-0, 36 years old. He's 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Park, 17-6-0. He's 33, so he's 3 years younger, going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. My opinion hasn't changed since the last time this fight was booked. I still like Brad Tavares. I still will probably play him. I'm going to go back and look at it a little bit more, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. But my original read, I think, is about the same. At the end of the day, maybe Tavares is starting to near the end of his career. Definitely seeing a downtrend with him. Maybe he's a little bit slower. But realistically, where does Park stand out here significantly, right? So on the feet, is Park a better striker than Tavares? Park's a good boxer, but he's super hittable, and his boxing is nothing special. Tavares, I think, is a cleaner striker. I think his output is also very good. And on the feet, I favor Tavares at range. Park is going to need to get up close to boxing range. That's where he's best. And Tavares, I think, will be better at range. But at boxing range, he can compete too with Park. So I have a slight lean towards Tavares standing. And then I know Park's been taking people down and subbing them. But, I mean, who, right? Duraev after he gasses. Denise Tiulin. Do I need to say more? Joseph Holmes. Like, and then the Eric Anders fight was a split that he might not have even deserved. So is he going to take Tavares down and sub him like those guys? There's two things wrong with that. Tavares has really good takedown defense, some of the best in the division, even now. And the other thing is Tavares doesn't really gas. And that's usually what gets the job done for Park, is he's able to outpace these people, and then he's able to sub them. I don't think he's going to outpace Tavares. I don't think he's going to sub Tavares. I don't really think he's going to take down Tavares much. So if we're standing, I don't see how Tavares is plus 155. That doesn't really quite make sense to me unless you think Park's also a way better striker. Then I guess. But for me, it's Tavares or pass all day. He's the pick for me, and I will probably bet him. I'm just going to wait and then retape it probably tomorrow and then make my final decision. All right, last up, we're on the main event. We've got Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Royval, 16-7-0, 32 years old. He's 5'9" with a 70.5-inch reach. Taira, 16-0, undefeated. He's 24, so he is 8 years younger. He's going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to have the same reach. So, I don't know. I don't really know what this fight. They honestly have very similar styles. Both really chaotic, both great grapplers, both solid strikers. I lean Taira just because I think Royval is relatively chinny. I think Royval's takedown defense sucks. He depends a lot on his scrambling ability, but Taira's also got good jiu-jitsu, so I could see him being able to control Royval and defend against any subs Royval throws up his way. On the feet, I could see Royval catching him because Royval, he's not a great striker, but he's very chaotic. He's got a lot of output. He throws a ton of output. He mixes up the strikes really well, kicks, knees, got everything. And he's going to be in Taira's face the entire time. So Taira is going to have to try to slow him down. Taira is a good wrestler, so I do think he can take him down and slow him down that way, defend against the subs. On the feet, just who's cleaner. I think Taira's a cleaner striker, and he is really young, and the striking has been improving fight to fight. And I think he might also have a little bit more power. So I'll give those edges to Taira. But I don't know how it's going to work out with him, with Royval just being in his face, being in his face, being in his face. If he can't knock out Royval, Royval might be able to find something of his own, might be able to win minutes standing. We've seen him do that now against Morono. He was able to win a lot of minutes standing. He's able to make Morono miss a lot. So I feel like you can't really go wrong with a Royval dog shot. I don't want to because I don't like Royval's style. I don't like depending on your chin when you're a little bit chinny and you have bad striking defense. I don't like betting on guys who have terrible takedown defense and who depend on their submission offense to kind of scare people away. I just don't like his game. So for me, I'm going to favor Taira. I'm going to favor the younger guy who's improving fight to fight, who I think is a better striker, who I think it hits harder, who I think can get his own takedowns, who I think can get his own submissions. So for me, it's Taira. I kind of like the under 3.5 because both guys are really violent. And I could see both guys getting a finish, even though I kind of lean at being Taira. It's hard to really imagine what the Royval finish looks like. Like, does he knock out Taira? It's possible. We've seen Taira hurt before. Could he club and sub Taira? Maybe. I don't have a ton to suggest that's really a possibility, but this is a big step up. Alex Perez was a big step up, and I had Taira there, and I'll say I didn't love how he looked. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I knew he was going to do that to injure Perez. Like, kind of weird to parade that win around. And Royval is of the level of Perez, and maybe even a little better. They're very different fighters, but he's also a really high-level fighter. It's another step up for Taira. And I don't know how you feel comfortable laying 200 on him. He's the more durable guy, so I guess I get it. Yeah. I like Taira to win. Don't know if I'm going to end up with a bet on it. I guess he's an okay parlay piece, but it's a big step up. So I need to think about this one a little bit more too. But I will pick Taira and don't have a ton of interest on Royval. And that's it, guys. That's UFC Vegas 98. I'll run through the picks one more time, just give you my quick picks. And then tomorrow the shorts will drop. And I will also be dropping the rest of my notes and breakdowns in the free Discord. Link to the Discord is in the bio of this video. And yeah, let's hop through it real quick. We're going to pick Carpenter, but that's dog or pass. And I'm going to probably play Rocha, Haddon, Tafa, Themba, Pearce, Temirov, Gooden, Alhassan, D-Rod, Polastri, Dawson, but Garcia or pass, Tavares, and Taira. Those are my picks. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Good luck this weekend, and peace out.